Good morning, students. Today we start the topic warehouse strategy and warehouse management and support process. During the topic, we will discuss the strategic component, organizational context, preliminary survey of requirement, preliminary source audit, system audit, external data sources, warehouse rollout, preliminary data warehouse architectures, development and production environment and tools, issue tracking and resolution process, perform capacity planning, DBMS constraint, warehouse planning rule, security management, and warehouse uses statics. Now we'll start the topic with the first, what is warehouse strategy? The conventional information strategy plan address operational computing needs thoroughly, but may not give sufficient attention to the decision information requirement. A data warehouse strategy cures this by focusing on the decisional need of the enterprises. The strategic components that are used in that are mostly considered in the data warehouse strategy should include the following elements. First one is primary data warehouse rollout plan, primary data warehouse architecture, shortlisted data warehouse environmental and tools. First, we discussed a short or brief discussion about the primary data warehouse rollout plan. This plan indicates how the development of warehouse is to be phased. Not all the users' requirement can be met in one data warehouse. We all know the all the users' requirement could not be get in a single data warehouse project. Such projects would necessarily to be large. If we want to develop a project which fulfill the all requirement of a customer, then this project must be very large. And if this project is very large, then it is impossible to handle or manage this large project, because if the project is very large, that is very difficult to manage it. That means it is more realistic to prioritize the different users requirement and assign them to different warehouse rollout. Doing so allows the enterprises divided the data warehouse development into the phases. These successive rollouts, where each rollout process or focuses on meted to agreed set of requirements. Means to say, if we want to develop a large data warehouse, or if we would develop a project which fulfill the all requirement of the customers, कोई ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट जो कस्टमर की सभी रिक्वायरमेंट को फुलफिल कर सकता हो, ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट अगर हम डेवलप करना चाहेंगे तो होगा क्या कि वो प्रोजेक्ट बहुत ही बड़ा हो जाएगा। जब प्रोजेक्ट बहुत बड़ा होगा तो उसमें कंट्राडिक्शंस होंगी हर यूजर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट को अडॉप्ट करने के लिए। तो उसको मैनेज करने के लिए सबसे बेटर प्रोसीजर है कि हम उसको वेरियस फेज में डिवाइड कर दें और हर फेज की रिक्वायरमेंट को प्रायोरिटाइज कर दें। जब रिक्वायरमेंट प्रायोरिटाइज हो जाएंगी तो हम उसको इजिली मैनेज कर सकते हैं और हैंडल कर सकते हैं। नाउ नेक्स्ट वी preliminary data warehouse architecture, which data warehouse architectures indicates physical implementation of warehouse rollout. Means to say, the overall data warehouse architecture for the pilot on subsequent warehouse rollouts to ensure the scalability of the warehouse. Whenever possible, define the initial technical architecture of each rollout by continuously Thinking about the data warehouse architecture, warehouse planner can determine the various technology components such as RDBMS tool. Those are required for each rollout. Next one is shortlisted data warehouse environment and tool. In the data warehouse development strategy, we must be consider the number of tools which we have to use for the development of the warehouse. There are a large number of data warehouse tools available from which we have to select a particular tools which helpful for the betterment of the data warehouse, which fulfill the all requirement of our data warehouse. For that purposes, we shortlist the tools which are compatible with the environment of the data warehouse, which fulfill the all functionality of our requirement, which fulfill the all requirement of the customer acceptations. Now we determine the organizational context. After the understanding of organization, that helps the team which type of tools we have to develop. Before understanding the organizational culture, it is very difficult to develop a warehousing project. For that, first we have to understand of the organization culture and the type of working that is performed by the organization. This highlights aspects of the corporate culture may easy to or may help to organizations to developing the warehousing project. Next is conduct preliminary survey requirement. The main objective of this preliminary survey requirement is to understanding the user's need and prioritizing the user's requirement. To obtain the list of requirement of business users through individuals or group interview with the end user community. The requirement list represent the extent of informations that the warehouse is expected to provide, which it is important to get a clear picture of extent requirements. It is not necessary to detail all the requirement in depth at this point. The objective is here to understand the user's need and prioritize the user's requirement. Next one is the conduct preliminary source system audit. Here, first we have to identify the best system audit, source system audit. System administrator is the best auditor. This auditor could be sometimes any IT members of the organizations. For that purposes, first we obtained a list of potential warehouse data sources through individuals and group interview with key persons of this IT organization. इसके लिए हम क्या करेंगे, सबसे पहले एक ग्रुप इंटरव्यू करेंगे और ये आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे कि जो डेटा वेयर हाउस है उसको कौन यूज करेगा, कितने लोग यूज करेंगे, उनका टेक्निकल बैकग्राउंड कैसा है, वो सॉफ्टवेयर के बारे में क्या जानते हैं और उनकी एक्सेप्टेशंस क्या हैं उस सॉफ्टवेयर से। जब तक ये इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं होगी कभी भी एक बेटर डेटा वेयर हाउस सिस्टम्स नहीं बन सकता। और इसको टेस्टिंग कौन कर सकता है, जो कि सिस्टम एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर हो, जो कि जिसको उसकी डेप्थ नॉलेज हो, या फिर कोई भी आईटी प्रोफेशनल या आईटी टीम का ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल मेंबर could easily audit the systems. Next is identify the external data sources. Means first we have to identify from which sources we get the informations. This informations maybe comes from the data from credit agency, zip code, mail code data, statistical or census data, data from the industry organization, data from the publication and news agencies. From which sources we collect the data for the data warehouse. First, we have to identify the data sources. Now, define the data warehouse rollout. Next phase, we identify the data warehouse organizational culture, project handling members, external sources from the data from which we collecting or we taking or importing the data. Next, we move to the warehouse phase implement. Divided the data warehouse development into the phases. We divided. First we developed which part, then which, and then which. This helps to manage user expectations through the clear definition of scope of each rollout. Means after using the first phase, what will be the come out? After the second phase, what will be the come out? In third phase, what will we get? The rollout definitions is finalized only when it is approved by the project sponsors. Means to say, when we collect the informations and we designing the phases, the outcome of the each phases must be approved or finalized by the project sponsors. These sponsors approving our phased implementations. Now move to the next phase, that is defining primary data warehouse architecture. Data warehouse architectures is divided in basically data warehouse architecture must be considered on the basis of three main categories. First one is data warehouse and data marts. Data warehouse means to say defined the intended deployment of data warehouse, and data marts for each rollout indicate how the different databases are related with each other. The warehouse architecture must ensure the different data marts are not deployed in the isolations. Means to say कि जो भी डेटा वेयर हाउस है उसमें कितने नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स होंगे, उसके वेरियस डेटा मार्ट्स कितने होंगे, वो कैसे, उनके बीच में कोई भी आइसोलेशन नहीं होना चाहिए, उनमें डेटा इजिली फ्लो करना चाहिए. नेक्स्ट है नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स. Specify the intended number of users for each data access and retrieval tools for each rollout. how many numbers of users handle the data warehouse, which type of activities they would be run on the data warehouse, and location. Specify the location of data warehouse and data marts and the intended users for the each rollout. All the data warehouse and data marts are available in a single place, in the same place, or either this data warehouse and data marts are placed in multiple remotely global placed locations. Either users are available in same place or in a same organizations or in a same physical locations, or either the number of users may be handled the data warehouse in globally placed locations. These things must be considered before designing the data warehouse architecture. Evaluating the development and production environment tools. Select the combination of tools that best meet the need of enterprises. Eliminate all unsuitable tools and produce a short list which each rollout project will choose its tool set. Means which tools is better for the organization, which tool must be providing all the functionality, which tool could be run on the operating system environment that's available on the customer site. These things must be considered before deciding the architectures of the data warehouse. This is a rollout plan. Here you can see the front-end users are 12 and a single data warehouse that's generate only the report writers. The backend users are 8. That is a simple designs, means a role app is directly connected to the report writer. For that purposes, architecture is simple and tools would be different. But in rollout 2, you can see there are a data warehouse, they having different data marts. This using the 15 front-end users that handling the role app, 3 users that using the decision support system, executive information systems, alert system handling users 10, report server users 10. That mean we required the different tools and environment for that purposes. Both architectures could not be same and tools for developing this architectures or this software could not be same. Next one is warehouse management and support process. What is warehouse management and support process? Warehouse management and support process are designed to address aspects of planning and managing a data warehouse project that are critical to successful implementation of subsequent extension of data warehouse. Unfortunately, these aspects are all too often overlooked in initial warehousing development. These processes are defined to assist the project manager and warehouse driver during warehouse development project. Here first we defining the issues tracking the resolution process. The following issues tracking the guidelines which helpful. During the course of the project, it is unavoidable that a number of business and technical issues will exist. These issues typically include dispute over the definition of the business terms and the financials formula that govern the transformations of data. The project will quickly be depleted by these unresolved issues. if an issue tracking and resolution process is not in place. An individual of the project should be elected to track and follow up the resolutions of each issue as it arises. Extremely urgent issue or issue with strong political overtones can be brought the attentions to the project sponsors, who must use his or her power to speed up the resolution process. Now, it is very difficult. That means it is impossible that technical or financial issues could not become in a project development. First, we have to identify the issues, and these issues must be come in the knowledge of the project sponsors that will take the necessary actions to solve these issues. For solving these issues, we having or we follow a guidelines that is helpful to removing the issues. First one is issues descriptions. That is state that the issue briefly in 2 or 3 sentences. Provide most descriptions of the issue as a separate paragraph. If there are possible, resolution of the issue include these issue descriptions. Next one is urgency. Urgency indicate the priority level of issues. This urgency is divided in 3 categories: high, medium and low. Low priority issues can be left unresolved and may later become high priority. The team may be agreed on the resolution rate depending on the urgency of the issues. For example, the team can agree to resolve high priority issue within 3 days, medium priority issues in a week, and low priority issue within a 2 weeks. Raised by, identify the person who raised the issues. If team is large or does not meet on the regular basis, then provide the information how to contact the person. For example, we can write the telephone number or email address of the raising persons. Assign to identify the person on the team who is responsible for the resolving these issues. That means who will be resolve these issues. Date of open. This is the date when the issue was first logged. Date closed. This is the date when the issue was finally resolved. Resolved by, the person who resolved the issue must have the required authorities. Maybe sometime the issue is assigned to a person that could not solve these issues, and a person of third person who is not assigned for that particular issues who can be resolved this. That means we must be write up the name who resolved this problem. Resolution description. How state briefly the resolution of this issue in 2 or 3 sentences. How this issue is resolved and what is the process to overcome these issues. This is a brief chart descriptions about we have previously discussed. First one is issue descriptions, urgency, raised by, assigned to, date open, date close, resolved by, and resolutions description. Here you can see first problem, issue discussion, conflict over the definition of the customer, urgency high, raised by any xyz, assigned to any xyz, date February, closed 15, resolved by CEO of organization, use the code plan definition. That's the procedure to solve the issues. Now perform the capacity planning. For the warehouse capacity requirement come the following from. First one is space required. Means first factors, that is workload or data warehouse environment is variable. Means how much space is required, how much machine processing power, what is the network bandwidth, number of concurrent users, that can be used to identify the capacity of the warehouse. For the capacity planning of the warehouse basically depend on three factors. First factors, workload for the data warehouse environment is very variables. Means to say, in any positions we need highly workload, in any positions we need low workload, or we did not work very hard. Second factor, design of the data warehouse environment, in which type of environment is available for the software or data warehouse. On the basis of this environment we have to design the software. Next, we have to consider the capacity planning of the data warehouse environment. Basically, a non-traditional exercise is that the data warehouse environment and operational environment do not mix under the stress of workload. The importance of imbalancing of environment KB increase the problem for the capacity planner. For the planning of the capacity, we must be considered the DBMS. This DBMS considerations must having four categories. These having four categories issues. First one is access of warehouse. How we access the data warehouse. Second one is which type of operations we will apply on the DBMS and what will be the efficiency of the DBMS. Indexing, which type of indexing we are using in the warehouse. What will be the storage efficiency and which type of requirement which perform on the data warehouse. That is the most four considerations before we considering the DBMS. First one is access of warehouse, second one is DBMS operations and efficiency, third one is indexing, and fourth one is storage efficiency of requirements. Now, disk storage. Disk storage and processing resources having two main aspects. These aspects is identifying the capacity planning. For the capacity planning for data warehouse environment, we calculate the disk storage. First we calculate the tables. That will be the current detail level of the data warehouse are identified. Once the tables are identified, then we next calculate how many rows available in the tables. After the number of rows, it is divided the next step to calculate the size of each row. How many key attributes available in each row. This is done by eliminating the contents of each row key attributes with multiplied by table. Table is multiplied by key attributes are multiplied by rows and rows is multiplied by tables. That will calculate the disk storage. Next, the processor requirement. What will be the processor requirement? In order to make the sense to eliminate the processor requirement for the data warehouse, the work passing through the data warehouse processor must be divided in three categories: background processing, predictable decision support system processing, or unpredictable decision support system processing. You can see the background processing is the processing that is done on the predictable on the batches basis. Typically, the background processing is exact processing, data warehouse load, monitoring, sorting, merging, reconstructing, indexing, creation. Background processing is the practical processing necessary to be the data warehouse but not directly associated with the query of the analysis of the data warehouse. That background processing could not be controlled by any data warehouse developer. That is not related to the data warehouse size. Predictable decision support system processing is that processing that is regularly done, usually on the query of the transaction basis. The unpredictable process by its nature is much less manageable than either background processing or predictable decision support system processing. However, certain characteristics about the unpredictable process can be projected. Exact response time. What will be the response time that could be outlined? Total number of input output. Whether the system is quitted during the running or request can be projected. These are the predictable decision support system. That's next one is unpredictable support system that could not be we can identify. Next one is warehouse. Defining the backup and recovery strategy means to say how we recover the data, how we creating the backup of the database. For that purposes, we consider the following factors. First one is data to be backupped. Which data we must be identify the data that must be backupped on the regular basis. This gives the indications of the regular backup size. Batch window of the warehouse. That means backup mechanisms are now available to support the backup of the data even when the system is online. Although there is very expensive. If the warehouse does not need to be online 24 hours in a day, then we have to make a allowable downtime for the warehouse. At that time, we will take the backup of the data warehouse. Maximum acceptable time for recovery. In case of disasters, that result is lost. Then the warehouse data and backup will be restored in quickly way possible. Determine the maximum acceptable length of time for the warehouse data and metadata to be restored, quality assured and brought online. Acceptable cost for backup and recovery. Different backup mechanisms, simply different cost. The enterprises may be budgetary constraints that limit the backup and recovery options. Setup and collection of data warehouse statics. Warehouse statics are collected to provide the data warehouse designers with input for data warehouse design. Design the mechanism for collecting these statics and assign resources to monitor the review this. Thank you.